What's up YouTube? Zero here, and today I'm going to be doing a comparison video between the Extreme Hangin Chadd and the Dastardly Amazing Grace. These are two handguns in Borderlands 3, and I got a lot to talk about, so without further ado, let's get into it. Right now we're looking at the Extreme Hangin Chadd, and the stat that I want to point out is that shots to break. 999. You're going to find a lot of people saying that this has an unlimited mag and it's never going to break. It does, but it takes a very long time to break it. I've broken it before in a boss battle because all I did was literally I just held down the trigger and eventually it broke, but it takes a very long time to do so. That's the bread and butter of the Extreme Hangin Chadd. Now, the bread and butter of the Amazing Grace, every critical hit returns one round to the magazine. So essentially, you could have an unlimited mag with the Amazing Grace, depending on how good of a shot you are. So these are two very good guns to take a look at side by side. The Extreme Hangin Chadd. Where can you get this gun? Because I think that's pretty important. Y'all are going to need to know where you can get these two guns. You're going to be able to get the Extreme Hangin Chadd from the Swamp Bros side mission on Eden 6, and you're going to get that from Chadd. The Amazing Grace, you're going to get from Mordecai on the Devil's Razor. It's on Pandora, and that's called Life of the Party. Both of those missions are actually really easy, so that's not going to take a factor into this comparison because both of them are very easy to get. Just follow the mission steps. You barely even have to face many enemies. You have to face a couple, but it's not really that difficult. Let's take a look at these two guns side by side. We already talked about the Chadd, 999 shots to break, which is just insane. The Amazing Grace, every critical hit you return around to the magazine. So if you're a good shot, you're going to be getting a lot of shots off before you have to reload. But other than that, what do these two guns do? Well, the Extreme Hangin Chadd is a COV gun. It has incendiary damage, and my gun, the one I was able to unlock, does 37 damage per second, has a 15% chance. The Extreme Hangin Chadd also has 2 shots for the damage, so you're getting your damage. Mine is at 39 times by the 2, so I'm getting the double damage. The extreme shots to break, the 999, and the fire rate is also 5.5 per second. It's not a very accurate gun at 36, however, since you could just hold down the trigger, this is a spray and pray type of gun. It is absolutely awesome. Just spray and pray and you're going to hit a lot of enemies. As you're going to see in the gameplay, I'm facing a boss, and because it's such a big target, I don't even have to worry about it. I'm just hip firing and holding down the trigger the entire time. That's all I did for that boss battle, is I just held down the trigger. I did not let go of the trigger once. The Amazing Grace takes a little bit more precision. You need to get those critical hits so you can return one round to the magazine. Me personally, I don't like the sight on the Amazing Grace. Some of y'all may like it, and it definitely helps getting those critical hits, but me personally, I think it makes it harder when a lot of enemies are shooting at you. That's just my personal preference though. So to me, that's a negative. To y'all, it may be a positive if you like the sight. I just don't like it, especially on handguns. I don't like having a sight on handguns. Now, the Amazing Grace, statistic-wise, deals a ton of damage, depending on the level you unlock this at, and it's a Jacobs, so Jacobs typically deal higher damage than other types of guns within that level range. So it's a Jacobs, it's dealing a ton of damage per shot. It's also a pretty accurate gun, which is nice. The reload time, if you do have to reload, is pretty quick. It's about 1.6, and then the fire rate is 2.1 per second. So a little bit slower than the Chadd, plus you get the 2 shots. That's something to think about as well. So these two guns, they do a lot of similar things, but they are also vastly different. The COV, you have a quick fire rate. You don't really need to worry about aiming down the sight. You can do incendiary damage, and you're going to fire for a very long time. The Jacobs, the Amazing Grace, is going to deal out a ton of damage per shot, and you're going to make sure, you need to make sure that you are getting those critical hits so you can return that round to the magazine. One has a sight. The Amazing Grace has a sight. The Extreme Hangin Chadd does not. That may factor into your decision as well. Me personally, I actually liked firing from the hip with the Amazing Grace. I thought it was pretty cool to fire from the hip. However, it does make it a little bit harder to get those critical hits. The Extreme Hangin Chadd, if y'all like dealing that extra damage, the incendiary damage is definitely awesome as well. So, which gun do I prefer and why? If I was only going to equip one of these guns, now, y'all are more than welcome to equip both of them. There could be a reason for you to equip both of them. Maybe that reason is you just like the feel of both of these guns. It's Borderlands. Equip any gun you want. There's a ton of guns in this game. Me personally, if I'm only going to equip one of these guns because both of them are handguns, I'm going to equip the Extreme Hangin Chadd. I prefer that gun better. I think it is an awesome gun and a gun everyone should get. What do y'all think of these two guns? Let me know in the comments section. Have you gotten them and which one do you prefer? Well, thank you for joining me in this gun comparison video for Borderlands 3, the Extreme Hangin Chadd versus the Amazing Grace. If you did enjoy this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel for more Borderlands 3 content. Well, until next time, peace.